Okay, we are talking about self-confidence today, which is another part of emotional healing. And self-confidence comes from essentially maybe not liking everything about who you are, but accepting it and kind of wearing who you are pridefully. And I'll use examples from my life, or one example in particular, to really get my point across here. This will probably be a two-part video because honestly the topic of this is going to come up multiple times. But on the physical elements that came from what I'm about to discuss, there's going to be a whole video for that. But growing up as a little girl, I had an idea of what a woman would look like. I had an idea of what older Mary would look like when she was a woman. And I had small boobs, I had long legs, I had all of this because that's who I was. But I knew puberty was coming and I knew that everything was going to change. I knew, I understood. I read into all of that. I wasn't going to look like that anymore. Well, puberty rolls around and I'm like, okay, can't wait to get boobs. Like literally so excited because that was the epitome of what being a woman was. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and you see where I'm going with that. They never came. It just wasn't in my genetics to have big boobs. It wasn't. And it was such an insecurity for me because it was such, I had put boobs on such a pedestal of what it meant to be a woman that when I didn't achieve that, I was still falling short. And it was a huge insecurity for me. You know, I was doing at what, 11, 12 year old, 11 or 12 years old, every type of chest workout you could think of. Talking like the push-ups. I mean, I do that all the time now, and actually it really is good for your chest, but it wasn't going to grow them massively like I was hoping. And they were always a giant insecurity for me. Like that was the one thing that really bothered me. If I had boobs, more boys would like me. If I had boobs, I could wear that outfit. Everything was if I had boobs. So as an adult, I use that term very loosely. At 20 years old, I had solved the problem. I was going to get breast implants, and I did a lot of research into it, and I knew this is actually what was going to make everything better. This is going to be what will make me love myself and accept myself and be proud of who I am and what I look like. So I got the implants, and you know, the sad part about that was I wasn't overly thrilled even once I had them. I went from nothing to like big boobs, and I was still like, yeah, they're not perfect. That should be your first red flag there. And I just remember thinking, man, I should have gone bigger. Like nothing was going to be enough. Nothing was ever going to be perfect because it wasn't really the boobs that were the problem. Once I took care of that insecurity, which is what I thought my only insecurity was, not just did I focus on one other area, I focused on everything. There was literally nothing I liked about myself. I didn't like that I had blue eyes. I didn't like that I had a pointy nose. My knees looked ridiculous. My torso was short. My feet were shaped weird. My ears, it was everything. I picked myself apart. And it put me into this spiral because I had thought I had taken care of something, the only one thing physically about myself that I didn't like. But it wasn't, because when I remedied that, I still didn't like what I looked like. I still didn't like who I was. And I bring this up because, you know, there are pretty harmless ways. And I know that many people use their appearance and what they do to be creative and to express themselves. I get that. I do understand. But for this particular example for me, I went under anesthesia. I had surgery. I added parts to my body, which ultimately, in this other video, you will find almost killed me. They almost killed me. This was not a small decision that basically ended my life. But why? Why did I want them? Because I thought that's what was going to make me happy, because I wasn't happy with myself. So if you color your hair, cut your hair, play with makeup, pierce, like whatever, like that's fine. I understand that there's an expression to that. But for me, what I'm saying is sometimes we have to look at why we do certain things. Maybe it's surgery or whatever the case is. Why are we doing this? So physical fitness obviously is for health, right? I work out 6 days a week. I eat good, I sleep good, I don't drink alcohol. I live a really healthy lifestyle. Now, primarily, yes, it is for health, but I would be lying to you if I said it was only for health and not for aesthetic as well. It is. Luckily, that's a pretty good group of healthy behaviors to have, but even that can be taken to the extreme, and that will also be in another video. So, when you're thinking about doing something because of changing how you look, you have to ask yourself why that is. Is it because I want to be healthy? I want to do this to be healthy. I want to do this to express myself. Or is it because you don't like it and you think that changing it or altering it is going to make you like yourself more and make you more acceptable to those around you? That's the question that you have to ask. And what I want to really point out is liking something is much different than accepting something. Right now, okay, I actually like my small boobs now, so that's not a good example. Then, I didn't have to like my small boobs, but I could accept them. And I feel like that's the case in many, many things. You know, if you have weight that you want to lose, I think this is the best sort of approach for anything in life. This is just my opinion, is you don't have to like that. You can accept it. Some things you can change, some things you can, in a healthy way, not change. If it's losing weight, you may not have to like your body. You may have to accept it where it is right now. That doesn't mean that you can't eat healthy, work out, all of that. For me, I didn't have to like the way that my boobs looked, but I should have accepted it, because that hatred that I have had nothing to do with them. It was all up here. And so my point is, you really have to work on what is it that you don't like about yourself and why that is the case. And you have to get to the heart of that issue. Because no matter, even if it's something small, like I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. Okay, well, are you doing that because you think that you'll be more attracted to the sex that you're interested in? Is that why you're doing it? Or are you doing it for health? Now, I guess some people would probably argue, does it really matter? Well, maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, I think it does. And this is my channel, and so this is what I believe. And so you have to look at everything. So how do you remedy that? Then you're like, well, that's well and easy. Fine, I can accept it and not like it. How do I really accept it? When everything I see in the mirror, that's all I see. You start your shift of mindset. And so this is where, sorry, that was a huge monologue. Didn't mean to go on for that long, but that's just what I do. But you shift your mindset. The first thing is, when we talk about inherent worth and value, it doesn't matter the size of your breast, it doesn't matter your weight, it doesn't matter how tall you are, it doesn't matter any of that. You are inherently worthy. But sometimes you don't know that. So your first mindset and your shift is, from the external, I am an inherent person that is worthy of good things, and I'm full of value just because I'm here. That's the first thought. Now, I understand you're like, that's, okay, how do you do that too? Well, I mean, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, and you have to lie about it. So I think affirmations are really, really important, and that's helped me. Because I remember the first few times I did affirmations, and I would say these things, and I thought, oh, crap, but I said it anyways. And I did it repeatedly, and it completely rewired my brain, and it shifted to where it was, I was just saying it, to where I say it and I believe it because it's true. So affirmations are really huge. Sometimes our disdain or our insecurities come from trauma or bullying, or who knows where you can even identify where they came from. Journaling is really important to that. And sitting down and writing. And pretty soon, once you write, like, what do I write about? Well, just write down whatever's in your head. It could be what you're having for dinner. It doesn't matter. At some point, something of substance is going to come out, because there's a lot going on in our brains. And if we can organize it and write it on paper, it becomes clearer and more coherent, maybe why we're feeling a certain way about a certain thing. It may be a kind of a minor insecurity that I had, but was my teeth. And it all stemmed back to 3rd grade. A girl looked at me and she said, when are you getting braces? And I'm like, why don't I get braces? Like, that's silly. And I went And I looked in the mirror, and for the first time, I noticed that I had crooked teeth. I never noticed before that. And when I actually thought about why I hated my teeth, and that memory popped up. So I would say journaling is really, really important. So affirmations, journaling, I meditate for many, many different reasons because I feel that it makes me at peace with who I am. It's just me in the moment, present, and it's very peaceful. And then it also shifts the focus from the outside world internally. I mean, we're surrounded by images that are not true on social media. We are surrounded by filters that people put on. Take some time just to be with yourself in the moment and figure out who you are, how you feel, and just be with yourself and be comfortable with that. Focus inward some. The other thing that I would say is I think social media can definitely be used for good, but if you're scrolling through and you're finding that it's bothering you, or it's, I hate the word trigger, or if it's triggering you, don't follow that account anymore. Now I understand sometimes you'll look at yourself and say, well, that triggers me because I need to do that. Well, yeah, maybe, but that negativity that you're bringing, all that does is bring shame. It's not like, okay, I see her working out, I feel really bad, I'm going to go work out and I'm going to enjoy it. No, you're going to feel shame. Now you may act on that, but you're going to feel shame. So get rid of that type of negativity that you have. The other part is try to surround yourself with people that are good people that are also working on improving themselves. You're not going to find anybody that's going to be like, yes, I'm perfect. They say that, they truly don't believe that. They really don't. And you can sort of help each other grow because people that are working on themselves are going to be accepting of you and you working on yourself. And it's important who you surround yourself with because that can make or break you. If you are surrounded by someone who's doing the opposite of what your goal is, if you're saying, I want to work out every single day, and they don't want you to go, you might want to reevaluate that. If you've got someone and you're like, oh, I want the breast implants, I hate them, and you've got a significant other that's like, yeah, you should definitely do it. No, I'm not saying that's not being supported, because maybe it is. What I'm saying is you have to look at your ultimate goal and where you're going. If I'm saying, I don't like my boobs, I want breast implants, but I don't want to get them, then look and see, like, is that person contributing? And I say that, and I use this example, because it could be very likely that, say you're a woman and you have a husband, and you're like, oh, I want boobs, and he's like, yeah, babe, you should do that, that's great. And you're like, yeah, that's supportive. Well, not that it necessarily matters what he thinks, but he may just be saying that because he's trying to be supportive at the same time. So you have to be able to communicate with those people. I wanted to give you that little caveat there. And he could just really be supportive. It may not be that he's pushing you. But, so you have to open that line of communication and surround yourself with people who accept you exactly how you are and who are trying to improve themselves as well. I'm sure there are many other different types of techniques that you could use for self-confidence. It's certainly not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not. It's going to take years. It's going to take your entire lifetime. But it's the process, and it's by learning to love yourself just a little bit more every single day. And maybe some of this doesn't ring true for you. My goal here is to share my experience and my thoughts and my observations of what I've seen in people that I've known and myself. So I think this is really, really important, especially individuals who have children. Your children are going to look at you and how you treat yourself and how you talk about yourself and how you feel. And even if that's your primary motivation, if you don't really care that you hate yourself, which is true, I didn't care. Look at the way that your children look at you and find a reason, somewhere to start, to really focus on accepting who you are and loving who you are. And then when you do, you're going to want to do all of these things that make you feel better and look better. And you're going to be gentle on yourself if it doesn't measure up to the idea that you have in your head. And that's okay too. So, I know I rambled. That's what I do. I should have just called this Rambling Mary for the channel. But I'm hoping that something from this video that you've taken and that you can integrate into your everyday life. And I would love to hear any stories, questions that you have. But even if it's just one, pick one and then report back. Let me know how that worked for you, what your thoughts are. If you have any other ideas, leave those in the comments as well. But just remember, you're here for a reason, and you are of high value just because of that. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful Christmas. And if I don't make a video next week, also a Happy New Year. Thank goodness 2020 is gone almost. Peace out. So have a great day, and I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.